See what I'm doing here? See what I'm doing? All right. Okay. No, this t-shirt is not from 1984. It's just from the Reagan Library. Got to go there once. Today is a day to talk about election lapbooks. So I'm going to be moving back and forth. I'm going to try to keep an eye on any questions that come in. So just to start off, let me show you what you get when you order an election lapbook. All right. So the first thing that's going to come to you is a box. And in this box is going to be everything you need to create the lapbook. So I'm going to open this. I'm going to do as much as I can here. I'll wait for a couple people to jump on and then I'll answer some questions. Everything you need to do the lapbook, I got to keep my, this is tricky. So all the glitter, glue, tape, felt. Like all of Sonlight's lapbooks, it comes with an instruction manual. And this instruction manual tells you absolutely everything that you need. Okay, it gives you the table of contents, all the things that you're going to learn about. I want to show you, okay, there's a lot of things in here. And it's not only for small children, you can use this for older kids. I'm going to answer that question soon. It tells you how to put it together. And for each project that you have, it's going to give you step-by-step instructions of how to do that. Okay, so I'm going to show you that. You do not have to make your own folders. If you're familiar with lapbooks, it means that they are folders glued together or stuck together that open in a variety of ways to do a lot of cool things. Okay, so we've got lots of surfaces to cover as we go along. I'm going to show you a made one in a second, but that's the basic concept. So let me answer this. Sonlight's website says that these election lapbooks are good for 3rd through 12th graders. I personally used this when my daughter was in 5th grade, 2019. So we were just heading into the 2020 election year. So 3rd to 12th grade, 8 and up. I had a question from a mom. She wanted to know if it's detailed in a lot of cutting. Yes, there will be some cutting. Let me show you this lapbook that's done. This is the one my daughter did. She did not do all of the coloring on her own. We kind of did it together, some of the coloring. She's my 5th, and she's actually not as into coloring as some of my others were. So, for instance, here is something that is a little bit of cutting. So you see here we've got her, and they're holding this. Her little thumb has an X-Acto knife cut out, but that's not a ton. And then inside you would cut out these words to glue in. This is not hard cutting here, but you do have probably mom or dad or somebody would help with the little stump. So you use an X-Acto knife for a few things. So I would say 3rd and up is what Sonlight says, and I would probably stick to that. As you can also see, here we have terms that we were learning, and so each one has the definition. It's pretty cute, huh? Another question I had from Gina Davis on the Facebook was, what level or what core does this align well with? I would say that the election lapbook aligns really well with core D or E. It also would align really well with 100. So that's your first year of US history for your 9th grader. Typically a 9th, 8th, 9th, 10th grader is taking level 100. You might even have a senior who's interested in doing it for level 400, government elections. If that's the case, I would think it would be a senior who kind of is into crafty things like this. look, as a parent, I even thought it was kind of fun to help my daughter. So Dee, and actually Jen made this comment, one of the mentors here, she made the comment that it's great for any election year or leading up to an election year. You learn so much more than the normal election lingo. So there's a lot going on here. We talk about terms of office. I want to show you this is really cool. So now we open it up. Okay. So over here, some things about the donkey and the elephant. Down here, who do we vote for? President, and it explains it here, and then you have a little, twisty thing with a brad that comes with your package. Here, I'm gonna show you, this is Inauguration Day, and we have his little hand can come up and down to be on the Bible. Here, let's turn over. Yeah, this is fun, right? So over here, I voted today, election day. Here's the ballot. It teaches you things about the ballot. Here is some instruction about the Electoral College. So I could pull this out and it explains it. Here's something about national conventions and it makes it look like a party. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, here we go. See the confetti dropping around them? Isn't that cool? Yeah. So that is a look at the lap book. We got a lot more going on here. It teaches about Super Tuesday, the electoral race, stuff about the American government, where we came from. Here's the branches of government, right? Executive, legislative, judicial. Okay, so all of that looks fun. How do you know what to do and when to do and what do they learn? Well, guess what? As we close this up, here's something that you create as soon as you get your lap book. You create out of pages a little textbook. So when I'm looking at this, it will say, let me show you an example right off the bat. It will say, let me just pick one. Here it is. The second lesson is different forms of government. And you can see there, it says read the different forms of government in the election booklet. So then you grab the election booklet that you created with the stuff in the box. And let me find it. Different forms of government. Here it is. The different forms of government. That's it. Just that short little bit of reading. Okay, so it's not a crazy amount of reading. So the different forms of government, the rule of one, the rule of a few, oligarchy, the rule of many, democracy, and anarchy. So that is what you read for the day. So the readings are not super long. Some are a little longer than that. Others are pretty short. So you read what you're supposed to read, and then you create something based on that. So for that one, the different forms of government, that was right here. Let's see if I can find it right away for you. Different forms of government. Here it is, right here. The different forms of government. The rule of one, and she describes it. The monarchy. The rule of a few. And there's some different ones going on here. Democracies, republics, and anarchy. What does that entail? So rule of one can be monarchy, a theocracy, a dictatorship, a tyranny. So they teach them a lot of different things. So I hope that by looking at that, you can tell, okay, what age range would this be good for? Where do we fit it in? So again, I think it would work really well with the American history years, where if you're doing level D and E, that's a great fit. How long will it take you to do it? Let me show you. So there are 21 lessons, okay? These 21 lessons are not super duper complicated. The activity is a little complicated. So you could say, okay, we're gonna take a year and we're just gonna do one thing a week. I probably personally wouldn't do it that way because I think they might get a little bit bored with that. But you could, so what my daughter and I did is that we took a month, and I said, let's do this for a month. And so I think I was able to just add it on to whatever else we were doing in history, because it wasn't overwhelming to us to do that. So that's what you would do. You don't have to do it that way. You could say, hey, we're gonna stretch it out a little bit. We're gonna do a couple lessons a week. We're gonna do 3 or 4 lessons a Saturday. However you want to do it. I think now is the perfect time to maybe think about doing it, because we have a big election year coming up next year. As my former government teacher self would remind my students, there is an election every single year. And every single year it's important. Even the off years are probably more important because their local elections affect your life more specifically. So that's it, guys. You've got the instruction booklet. This is the first thing you make when you pull it out. Actually, as long as you're still sticking with me here, I'm going to show you if I can find it in this one. Yeah, here it is. So it comes like this. So here's the pages to make that book. Okay, so you've got that, and then here's the cover for that book. See that? So that is how I got this. And then when there's instructions in there, you can read all about it and see what you're supposed to do. So I hope that was helpful. Just give me a second here. I dropped something. All right, let me make sure I answered all the questions that I've gotten so far. So 8 and up is really your target range. And yes, you could do it through high school. Is detailed a lot of cutting. There is some cutting that requires an X-Acto knife. It's not super difficult cutting, but it is, if you're used to Sonlight's lapbooks at all, it's that kind of cutting. So I'd say 3rd and up is really exactly right what they say. It aligns well with DE 100, 400, but really any one you can make it align with, as far as, hey, this is an election year, here's what's happening, here are terms we hear a lot, let's talk about it. Combine kids or separate. I had that question on the app. If it's me, I'm gonna have one for one child. I don't think that kids will want to share this. And with that being said, if you have children who get along and love to do projects together, by all means, feel free to have them work on it together, and maybe they would love it. I know for some people it's a cost thing having separate, but if you can swing it, I think it's nice, because then they have this this project that is their own, that they are excited about and can show people. The other thing was appropriate for high school. Absolutely, yes. You might have a high schooler who thinks they're too cool to do any coloring or cutting or whatever. If that's the case, they might not love it. But if you have one that's like, yeah, they're into it, they enjoy just things like this, then yeah, I think, look, I liked doing it with Julia. We had a fun time. She didn't want to color everything, so sometimes I would color things. For instance, the doors, right? She was like, meh. So I colored those because I felt like it. So anyway, there is definitely a lot more to learn through this. It's not just your basic like, oh yay, there's an election every 4 years, we vote for president, have a nice life. No, it goes into a lot more detail than that. So I don't see any questions on here. I hope that that was a good overview of what happens with these elections lapbooks. Every one of Sonlight's lapbooks is like this. The history ones and the world history ones, the levels D, E, G, and H, are more, there's more to them. The lap books are bigger. They are amazing. They are worth every penny. And like I said, everything comes in here. You don't have to make anything up. The folders are all there. The instructions, what you do, what you cut out, where to put it in the lap book, the placement of it, it's all right here. And then all the things you need to make this lap book work. If they ask you for glitter, the glitter's in there. If they ask for brads, it's in there. There's felt. All the things. What is not in this great lap book box is this awesome mug. You can only get that special places. So you needed felt, that's in here. You needed glitter, it's in here. Double-sided tape, and it's not the double-sided cheap tape. They've got the good stuff that actually works. Glue stick, some school glue, and brads. So all of those things come in to make your projects. And we felt like it was well worth it. I went through this with my daughter in 5th grade. We learned a lot. It was enjoyable. It was going into election year in 2020, and so it was pretty great. So enjoy. Go buy an election lapbook. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.